Hello, everyone, and welcome to Really Old Movies. I'm your host, Harrison Scullin, and we got a very special show for you today. I'm going to be starting off talking about several events I've been to, and also talking about To Kill a Mockingbird, which is the most recent film I saw for the podcast. And then to finish the night off, I'll be playing the first round of Halo Combat Evolved. And so, with that, let's go ahead and get started with talking about the films I've been watching the past few months. So with that, let's get to that. Alright. So this is based off of my Letterboxd reviews, and I'll just be kind of doing a brief synopsis of each of the films I watched. And it's been a while since I've done this, and so there's going to be a lot here. I haven't done this in a very long time. So with the films for March, we'll start off with the first one, which was Dune Part 2. That was a first time watch for me. And I ended up watching it twice, actually, and I really liked it. The only issue I really had was just how Shawnee was by the end of the film. But other than that, I thought it was good. Again, I saw it twice. The first time in regular theater, second time I think it was a bigger theater. And it was just me and my wife the second time. That was pretty fun. Just all by ourselves. And yeah, I liked it. And I still think the first one is better, though. Alright, the next film was for the podcast called The Old Dark House. And this had Charles Lofton and Boris Karloff. It was a okay film, not great. And if you want more in depth, you can check out my review on The Old Dark House. But basically, it's a cheesy old Universal monster movie, but the monster is a crazy old man. So, it was alright. Alright, the next one was The Fly. I did that with my buddy Alex of Geeks and Flicks. We did a review of that, and that movie I absolutely loved. It was a first time watch. Give it 5 out of 5. Great film. It's definitely one I'd want to pick up. And real quick, I'm going to see if I could even hear myself here. So you know how it goes. Alright, perfect. So we're good to go. We're golden, Pony Boy. And but yeah, I love The Fly. I'm definitely picking that up on Blu-ray and all that. And I think there's a collection of it. I don't know if I want all of it per se, but yeah, I definitely want the first one. And maybe the second and third. Alright, the next one was King Kong. That's a film I've seen a few times. This is from 1933. I always love watching it. It's always a great film. Always great on a rewatch. And I'm going to turn on my fan. It's a little hot today. But what I love especially about King Kong is just the fact that we kind of feel a little bit for the monster. It's very different from like Dracula or Frankenstein where we don't really feel for him. But in this one we do. He's kind of almost a victim of circumstance. You know, he's just trying to live his best life, and they take him to New York City and whatnot. So I love that movie. I always loved the line of "It was beauty who killed the beast." Great film. Alright, the next one was Dune from 1984, so just in time for its 40th anniversary. That was a first time watch for me. I'd never seen it before. I'd heard about it, heard it was terrible, and I actually really liked it. And I've been listening to the book of Dune, the very first one, and honestly, David Lynch was pretty spot on with it. It's really accurate and close to the book. I will say the only part I really didn't like was just the last act, really. They kind of rushed through and jumped forward 4 years in a flashback. Wasn't the best idea, but other than that, it's a great movie. I mean, Kyle MacLachlan, I think that's his name, he's great as Paul Atreides, and just all around, it's a great film with a great cast, and I loved it, man. I highly recommend it. Even if you love the not David Lynch, what's his name? His name is blanking on me. Denis Villeneuve. If you like the Denis Villeneuve films, you may not like this one. I don't know. I love this and that. I'm just a huge fan of Dune all around. I even want to see the sci-fi series, so all around, great film. Alright, the next one is called Underground, so that was a first time watch. And I did a review of that with my buddy Chris Yogerst. He's a professor over in, I think it's in Wisconsin. And this is one he kind of recommended a while ago with his book, The Warner Brothers. It's this film about a family in Nazi Germany where one son, he's kind of the leader of the rebellion movement that happened over there, and then the other son is kind of a faithful soldier. and it's a really interesting story of, you know, what's really more loyal, your patriotism or that of your family, right? Very, very interesting conflict and whatnot. It's a B film. I mean, it's not made with a big budget or anything like that, but I really liked it. And I would say I would want the Blu-ray or Warner Archive of it, but there isn't one. And which is crazy, because to me and Chris Yogers, we feel it's a really good candidate for that. So, you know, Warner Archive, if you're listening out there, bring us Underground. All right, the next one was Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. That was a first time watch for me. Never seen it. I think it was the day it came out, or maybe a day after. It was okay. I think I liked it more than Afterlife. I never finished Afterlife. I was just kind of melancholic with it. I didn't really care. And to me, this film was fun and kind of captured the fun that I think's in the original Ghostbusters. But, you know, having watched pretty much all the Ghostbusters movies, with the exception of finishing Afterlife, and I have not seen the 2016. I kind of refuse to. I think Ghostbusters was really meant to just be one movie. I don't think it was meant to be made into a series. I think that we've gone a little crazy with that. I think we should just leave it alone. Because it's like making sequels to Caddyshack. Oh, they did make a sequel to Caddyshack. But that's what I've been saying to people. It's like, this is just a movie of friends who worked on SNL and different things together. And they decide to make... You know, they decided to make a film. It was really popular. They made a sequel. And it's just... It was never really meant to be a franchise, you know. It was really just meant to be the one film. So I'm surprised that they've kept going with it. I'm kind of tapped out. I don't need any more Ghostbusters. All right, the next film was Outcasts of the Islands. That was for the podcast. It's based off of a Joseph Conrad book. I don't know. I just did not like the movie. It was just so dark and depressing the whole time. You know, there's no real good guy in the movie. No one you really want to see succeed. No one to really latch onto. I'm not a huge fan of movies like that. I prefer to have movies where there's a great character, a great cast you want to relate to and whatnot. This, to me, was not that. And, which is a shame because, you know, I wanted to like it. It seemed like a really cool movie, but it just wasn't for me. I give it a 1. It is not good. Alright, next, I already mentioned Dune Part 2. This is just a rewatch, and again, it was just me and my wife in the theater, and I think maybe one other guy. So we had pretty much the entire thing to ourselves. We sat in the back. We both really enjoyed watching it. It's a great film. She actually likes Dune more than me, it seems. She just finished the book before I did, so I got to catch up. But, no, yeah, we had a great time with it. Alright, the last film I watched in March was Faust. That was another film for the podcast. And this was a first time watch for me. I'd never seen it before. Great silent film. One of the best ones I've seen. And I love the cinematography. I love the characters. I just love the story overall. I highly recommend checking it out. Especially if you're a little hesitant for silent films. This is a very sophisticated, very good one. I'd put it up there with Metropolis, and that's my favorite silent film and one of my favorite movies of all time. So yeah, I highly recommend checking out Faust. So with that, let's move on to the April movies. Alright. So first I saw Frankenstein from 1910. This was a film made, I think it was by the Edison Company in 1910. You know, at this point there were no real feature-length films yet. This was back in the very, very early days. And I didn't like the film. I really love the Boris Karloff one. I thought the costume for this guy was a little strange. But I will say, I thought it was impressive that we still have it. That we have it in the condition that it's in. I thought it looked really good. I saw it on YouTube on the Library of Congress page. So, in that aspect, I think it's cool for seeing, especially if you're a fan of older monster movies. But it's definitely not a good movie. I don't know. I just wasn't a fan of it. You know, he seemed more like the Hunchback than he seemed like Frankenstein's monster, the one I think of from the book and from the movies. But it is what it is. But again, it's only like 12 minutes long, so they had to go crazy with just shortening it down to that. It's just an impossible feat, in my opinion. So, it was alright. Alright, the next one was The Man in the White Suit. This is a film I reviewed on for Really Old Movies, and I liked it. It was okay. You know, I like Alec Guinness, and I love seeing him in roles other than Star Wars. I thought he was excellent here. He was probably the highlight of the movie for me. And the suit he makes, because he's like a scientist, he's trying to make, you know, his own fabrics that don't need to be washing. I think it was ironed either, something like that. And this is what he ends up making, which is a white suit. And he keeps getting chased by all these different industries, like the wool industry and the people who make the textile and all that. It's a pretty good film, kind of like a James Bond film almost. Well, more of like a thriller, like chasing movie. But it wasn't really good. It was just pretty good. Alright, the next film was Summertime. This was another movie I reviewed for Really Old Movies. I love Katharine Hepburn. She's one of my favorite actors ever, and I think she's actresses ever, rather. She's severely underrated. The better of the Hepburns, in my opinion. Better than Audrey. This is not for me. I did not like it. I've been pretty disappointed with David Lean movies as of late. I think I've seen maybe 8 or 9 of his movies now. I don't know what it is. He keeps making these movies about people who are cheating on their spouses. I don't like that. I don't think that's something we should celebrate. It seems like he's celebrating it in a way. I don't know. I'm not a fan of that. I thought this movie was pretty boring too. It just seems more like a travel log. It doesn't seem like a full good film. It was just alright. So that's why I gave it 3 out of 5. Alright, the next one was I Married a Witch, and this one is on HBO Max if you want to check it out. I really liked it. I thought it was a cute story, cute casting. Frederick March, he's great. Veronica Lake is great. They got great little chemistry together. Speaking of movies of people cheating on their spouses. But no, he's not married yet. I still don't like that, but they're not married yet. And his fiance is terrible, right? But I digress. I really liked it. I think it's a cute story. It's definitely a kind of wacky. If you've ever seen Arsenic and Old Lace, it's kind of in that similar vein. I really liked it. I love the kind of history behind it. You know, they've been kind of taunting this family forever. I thought that was funny. The Veronica Lake's character. I don't know. Great film. Highly recommend it. Like I said, it's on HBO Max. Alright, the next one was Legally Blonde 2, Red, White, and Blonde. So, this was the first time I'd ever seen it. I've seen the first one several times. It's one of my wife's favorite movies. We watch it all the time. And I actually really do enjoy that first one. And I really liked this one too. I actually like how it's kind of a nod to Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. That's a great film too. The only real critique I had of it was if you didn't see the first movie or know any of the previous characters, you have no idea what's going on. Which I guess isn't really a critique because the people who are going to watch it have seen the first one. But they don't do any like little subtle setups for the people who didn't see the first one. I don't know. I kind of wish there was that. But the thing I do love about it is it kind of showed, how Congress can actually work together on. And in this case, it was kind of it wasn't meant to be taken seriously, the bill. It's not testing products on animals or whatever. Fine. But I loved how they kind of used it as a way of like, hey, let's try to work together, even if you're a Republican or a Democrat, liberal, conservative, right? I love that. I thought it was very, very cutesy and a very fun way of showcasing this kind of thing. So I really like that. All right, the next was Alexander Nevsky. I reviewed that for the channel. I liked it. It was okay. It's definitely a Russian propaganda film. So don't expect a lot of setup. Don't expect really character biographies or anything like that. It is definitely a propaganda film. because this was made around the same time as Germany was invading the different countries. So Russia's like, this movie made by Sergei Eisenstein. He did Battleship Potemkin, great movie. But he was basically tasked with the job. Hey, you need to show the Russian public that the Germans have been bad and evil towards us, even in the ancient times. Because in this movie, the German knights or whatever, they come in and pillage Russia, and Alexander Nevsky rises up and fights against them. That's pretty much the premise of the movie. Again, not a lot of backstory. Don't expect it to be like a life, like the history of Alexander Nevsky. I don't know much about him. This is my first time really learning anything about him. This is mainly just that specific conflict, and then the movie's over. Yeah. It's really a really long battle scene. I will say, to give it props, you could tell that Peter Jackson and other directors were heavily inspired by this movie, because some of the camera shots, some of the costume work in the movie looked very similar to The Lord of the Rings, and I was very, very impressed with that. So props to that. That's probably the coolest thing about it, is you could kind of see the little nods here and there. Other than that, though, just okay movie. Alright, the next one was Dial M for Murder. This is a rewatch. I've seen it before and actually reviewed it in, I think it was the first season of Really Old Movies, so check out that. But I really liked it. This was my wife's first time watching it. She was kind of on the edge of her seat watching it the whole time. Loved it. I really liked it too. I actually noticed a lot of things that I didn't last time. You know, having seen the movie already and already knowing what's going to happen. So I kind of recommend it in that aspect. If you've already seen it, watch it again. It's even better, and you notice a few more nuances that you didn't see before. And I thought that was really, really cool. But yeah, Dial M for Murder. Great, great movie. I love the suspense of it. I love how everything that could go wrong goes wrong. It's just a great, great film. Alright, next is The Searchers. That was one I reviewed for the channel, and my cousin Carter was on for that. That was really, really fun. I liked the movie. I gave it 4 out of 5. I love the song. Song of the Pioneers, I think is what it's called. Excellent, excellent song. I sing it all the time. And I love the cinematography. It's absolutely gorgeous. And I love John Wayne. He's great. The only things that really were... I kind of held the film back were... I think the whole subplot of... what was his name? Michael, I think it was his name. He's the guy who's going along with John Wayne to go and find the kidnapped sister. I didn't need his whole romance thing. I didn't need him getting married. I didn't need any of that. I think that was unnecessary. In fact, I didn't like him at all. I think it should have been the guy who played the Reverend / deputy / army guy. I think he had much better chemistry with John Wayne. And I think that would have been a much more interesting film where you have the lawman who does everything by the books, and then the other guy who kind of beats to his own drum, the John Wayne character. So I thought that would have been a much better, much more interesting dichotomy. So I liked it. I will definitely be buying it on, I think it's on 4K. I have it on VHS. It actually looked really good even on VHS. So I highly recommend checking it out. Just for the cinematography alone. It's incredible. Alright, the last film I watched for April was The Three Amigos, starring Steve Martin, Martin Short, and good old Chevy Chase. I love this movie. I've seen it probably 1,000 times. I grew up watching it all the time. Absolutely love it. They have great chemistry together, great comedy, great humor, and it's a great Western too, I might add. It's actually a really good one. One of my favorite movies of the 80s, and one of my favorite comedies too. I recommend watching it, especially if you've seen like Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, or if you've seen National Lampoon movies. You'll like this one. This one is in a similar vein to those movies because it has Chevy Chase and Steve Martin, but also just the style of comedy is very, very similar. So, yeah, I highly recommend checking it out. So, now let's get into the movies I watched for May. So, firstly was Meet the Parents. That was a rewatch. I love this movie. I love... as crazy as he is now, I liked Robert De Niro and Ben Stiller in this movie. They're great. Great chemistry together. Really, really funny. I love it. And, I don't know. It's just one of those movies that I love watching. I just love the crazy things that happen. Like everything that could go wrong goes wrong with Ben Stiller. He's trying so hard to win the approval of the dad, and he just keeps failing. It's really, really funny. I recommend checking it out. I also recommend the sequel. That one, Meet the Fockers. I love that too. That joke. Gosh. That's a great movie too. I think it's a great sequel. It's got Dustin Hoffman and Barbara Streisand. They play Ben Stiller's parents. Really, really good movie. Recommend checking that one out too. All right, next was A Trip to the Moon from 1902. That one I actually have seen before. I saw it in class when I was taking some film classes. And I didn't really remember my thoughts on it, so it was good to rewatch it. I actually liked it a lot. I gave it 4 out of 5. I thought the camera work is really cool. I thought the set pieces were really cool. And it's just amazing to me that, with the limitations of the time, that Georges Méliès, he was able to accomplish really cool special effects. Like, he had these really cool wooden, set pieces that were at a weird perspective. And I thought that was really cool. And I also really liked just the color tinting that they did on the film. It looked really cool. All around, really cool movie. I will say, the thing that I wasn't a huge fan of is that there isn't any title cards, just because that wasn't really a thing at the time. So you can get lost pretty easily. Now, that's not a fault of the film, per se. I guess that's a fault on my part. I'm not a huge fan of that. I kind of wish there was something. But again, not a thing back then. Can't really blame it too much. But just keep that in mind when watching it. It may bring your enjoyment value down a bit, as it did for me. It's only like 15 minutes long. So, it's not too bad. Alright, the next one was To Write Love on Her Arms. So this is a movie my wife highly recommended. She loved watching it a lot when it came out. This was a first time watch for me, and I actually really liked it. So just as a side note, I work in behavioral health as like a media specialist. And so I actually connected a lot with this movie in the sense of, I've helped clients with this kind of thing that this movie's about and seen people kind of recover from that. I'm not a counselor or anything like that. Like I said, I just work on the computers and stuff. But just from my secondhand experience, I related a lot to this movie. And I thought it was excellent. I love the organization as a whole. I think it's really, really powerful. The only thing I would say is a bit of a hindrance is that it does get a little preachy by the end. Once she's in recovery and all that, they kind of start going all in on the organization as a whole, which is fine. This is basically an advertisement for the organization that helps people who are thinking and contemplating suicide and cutting themselves and whatnot. Great organization all around, but it does become kind of a preachy film. You know how some people don't like, overtly Christian movies that are just preaching and proselytizing, or like modern day with woke movies that do the same thing. I would argue that this kind of fits in kind of the preachy Christian category, or just preachy category in general. It's not Christian per se, but I digress. I think the first half is really good, especially because it stars Kat Dennings. She's great as the main character. And just kind of seeing her life kind of spiral out of control just because of some of the choices she made, but also just the things that have happened to her, all the adverse childhood experiences, something we talk about a lot in my line of work. But yeah, great movie. I highly recommend checking it out, but just keep in mind it does get a little preachy in the kind of the second half once she's kind of recovering and working in the organization. All right. Excuse me. The next movie was Rope. This was an Alfred Hitchcock film. First time watch, 5 out of 5. Excellent, excellent movie. I love the camera work. I love how it's edited to look like it's just one continuous shot and one continuous scene and in real time. I think that was really excellent. I love Jimmy Stewart. He's great in this movie. And just all around, what I love about Hitchcock, he does a lot of what's called shoot, I can't remember the name of it, but basically it's the idea where we, the audience, know what's happening, but the other characters don't. And I really love that. He does that on a lot of his movies. And this one is probably the best example of that. We see at the very beginning the murder, and the murderer's hiding the body. And so the tension is, oh my gosh. Because they're using that table to serve the food on too. Which is insane. So the whole movie, we're like, okay, when's it going to be discovered? Like, when are these? And it's just that tension rising and rising. It's really cool. I love it. I recommend checking it out. I would put it up there as one of his best movies, honestly. It's excellent. Definitely one of the best of the 40s. I still like Notorious just a bit more. But, yeah, I really love Rope. I definitely want to pick it up on... I think it's on 4K now. I definitely want to pick it up on that. It was beautifully put together, too. Alright, the next one is another Hitchcock film called Sabotage. Gave it a 3 out of 5. Didn't like it as much. I thought it was kind of a lesser movie compared, especially to Rope. I still feel like... Because Hitchcock had been making movies, I think, since the teens, at the very least early 20s. So, he was already kind of established at this point. A film that came out a little bit later, The 39 Steps, or it came out before? I think it came out before, I can't remember. But that one I think is a better movie from his era being in England, making movies. I think that one is a much, much better movie. This one's just okay. It actually reminded me a lot of Stage Fright, if you've ever seen Stage Fright. Pretty good movie, too. I reviewed that, I think, season 2. So, basically what I'm trying to say is it was a disappointment, especially compared to Rope and to Stage Fright. I think Stage Fright is a much better version of the story he's trying to tell here. Alright, the next movie... So I went to the Arthur Lyons Film Noir Festival. I'll be talking about that a little bit later. But this was the first movie I watched called Dead Reckoning. It was starring Humphrey Bogart and Elizabeth Beck? I can't remember her name. I apologize. But excellent movie. I gave it 4 out of 5. I love the twist ending. I don't want to spoil it here because I actually think you don't see it coming at all. So I think I'm not going to say any more about that. I really liked it. I want to pick it up on Blu-ray at least. And it was definitely a good movie to start watching for the festival for me. I just went on one of the days. I believe it was Saturday. It was a good one to start with. I was like, yeah, this is a good movie. Because what's cool about this festival in general is they show a lot of movies that are, B movies, sometimes C, D, F level movie. One that you've never heard of, or at the very least hasn't been shown since it was initially released. Now, this movie, I think, has had a few releases, at the very least DVD, maybe even Blu-ray. But again, it's another lesser-known one, right? But I really liked it. I like Humphrey Bogart. I do think he's better in Casablanca and High Sierra. That one's a really good movie, too, for film noir. But all around, I had a fun time with it. All right, the next movie is Woman in Hiding. And this is the second film I watched there. And it is actually one I reviewed on the channel as well. So if you haven't seen that, check out that review. A little bit more in depth with it. But I liked this movie a lot. I said Ida Lupino's name wrong. Just because I'm used to reading Spanish names. It looks like a name that's Hispanic. It's not. She's from England. So... I apologize to all the Ida Lupino fans out there. But I really loved it. She was fantastic. I think his name's Howard Duff. He was great too. They actually ended up getting married, which I think is great. Because they kind of hated each other on set. I don't know. I just love stories like that. I just think that's hilarious. But it was a great movie. Great suspense. And I'd compare it to a Hitchcock film. It's definitely like... North by Northwest and a couple other movies because she's kind of on the run, trying to get away from her crazy husband who's trying to kill her. Excellent movie. 5 out of 5. And I think Kino Lorber did a release of it, so if you haven't checked it out, I recommend it for sure. I'm definitely picking it up. Alright, the next is the last film I watched, and that was called Day of the Outlaw from 1959. I gave it 4.5 out of 5. This is a great movie too. The cinematography is incredible. They're actually outside for the most part in the snow, and I think it was in Colorado or something like that. Really cool. Burl Ives. If you know the song Holly Jolly Christmas or Frosty the Snowman, he plays a corrupt general in this movie. It was crazy seeing him playing a villain because, you know, he has that kind of happy demeanor about them, kind of jolly, no pun intended. But yeah, he was great as a villain, and I love the main guy, and his name is escaping me, but he was really good. All around great cast. It's definitely a film noir. It's a dark movie. You know, this corrupt army general takes over this little town. He tries to. Yeah, it's a little bit like Seven Samurai in that way, where the hero he tries to get rid of all these corrupt people by the end of it because they keep harassing the town. Just a little bit, not quite, but yeah, I highly recommend checking it out. I think it's on DVD. I don't know. I think all three of them are at very least DVD. So yeah, highly recommend it. All right, the next movie is Ashes and Diamonds. This is another movie I reviewed for the channel. I had my brother Hunter on as a guest. A great episode there. I loved the camera work. I loved the cinematography in the movie. My only complaint in the movie is kind of like a movie I was talking about earlier. There's no hero to latch on. There's no good guy per se. And I know life is nuanced and this is the end of World War II and whatnot, but I like having a hero in the story per se, if that makes sense. Like someone that we want to succeed, someone we want to follow along. To me, there wasn't anyone like that here. And I may be stepping on toes with that, but I don't know. I wasn't a big fan of it. But again, the camera work is incredible. And it's kind of an it's almost an anti-war film in a way that, you know, the main character, he kind of spent most of his young adult life out at the war. You know, because for us, we were only in it from 41 to 45, but he was in, I think it's in Poland. He was in it since 39, and it's 45 now, so that's 6 years of his life. So I think he was 18 or 19 when he started. Like, it's a good chunk of his life. And actually, tragically, that actor, and I butchered his name so bad, I still can't pronounce it, but he had a very similar career to James Dean in the sense of he was very popular for a hot minute, and he died in a tragic accident after only making 3 or 4 movies. So he kind of has that legend status to him in Poland. And this is his most known film. Like, the sunglasses he's wearing were very popular. Like, okay, great, but I don't know. I wasn't a huge fan, but I didn't live in Poland at the time that this film was released, so I don't have any real connection in that way either. So, yeah, 4 out of 5. All right, the next movie was Juno from 2007. This is a first-time watch for me, I think for my wife as well. We watched it together, 4.5 out of 5. I actually really liked it. I was a little worried because, you know, the topic of abortion and all those things is a very hot topic. So I was a little worried that it'd be a very contentious movie, but honestly, it kind of shows the positive and a bit of the negative of both sides of the argument. You know, Juno, the character, right, she gets pregnant, she's not married or anything like that, but she's kind of responsible about it. She wants to take responsibility for it. You know, don't like the idea of going to the abortion clinic, but she kind of learns too, like, well, no. You know, the fingernails. She's like, wait, maybe I do want to have the baby. At the very least, give it to someone who will take care of him. So then, I don't know. I think it's a really good film. And definitely an indie darling, if you will. I love the music. It's so quirky and so fun. And the visual style and the editing was hilarious too. Michael Cera is great too. But to me, this is actually a really good movie for today. I mean, this movie almost came out 20 years ago. And I think it's a great, I don't know, a great conversation starter, if you will. Because this shows kind of like I was saying, the negative and the positive of both, in kind of a way that people can talk to each other about it. Because even though the adoption family, you know, Jason Bateman's character, he's a scumbag, right? But then again, the abortion clinic, she doesn't like that either. So it's like, it feels real in a way, and I love that, again, that it's a conversation that I think is worth having And I think this is a great conversation starter. I loved it. I absolutely enjoyed it. And I was surprised. I didn't think I was going to like it, but I actually really liked it. It's really good. All right. This is the next page here. Juno's on there twice. The next film was Blithe Spirit. I think that was a David Lean film. A British movie where our main character, he's been remarried, right? And he sees the ghost of his first wife as they try to conjure in a spirit with like a local, I don't know what you call them, but this local lady who could do that kind of stuff. I think they were kind of doing it as a joke, but actually turned out to be pretty serious. I wanted to like it. I did not like it. I think it really lost a lot of steam by the end of the movie. And I hated the ending too. And just, I don't know. I was disappointed with it. I really, really wanted to like it. It just kind of went off the rails for me. This is another one, like I was mentioning with I Married a Witch and Arsenic and Old Lace. This is another movie I would couple with that. I would say if there's a triple feature, those three movies I think would work really well together. All right, the next movie was Shrek. So, I love Shrek. I love Shrek 2. Shrek 3 is alright. Shrek 4. I actually like Shrek 4 a little bit more too, but I love these movies so much. This movie I've probably saw 1,000 times, maybe more. But I still laugh hysterically every time. I love the music in it. And, you know, yeah, the animation's not great compared to now, but I still think it's very endearing and very good, you know. I think it was smart picking animals for a lot of the characters so they didn't have to look super realistic. Definitely the people look a little creepy, but I love this movie so much. It's got a great message behind it too of you know, not judging a book by its cover and all that. It's a great film. I recommend it. I recommend Shrek 2 as well. That one's my favorite Shrek movie. Hands down. Overall, hands down. Great movie. Alright, the next movie was Perks of Being a Wallflower. 4.5 out of 5. This is a first time watch for me. Another movie my wife really liked watching growing up. This one I've heard about a lot, but never actually got around to seeing. And like Juno, this is a great film for starting conversations about suicide and substance abuse and all of that. Excellent, excellent movie. I really love the character of Charlie. He's a great one we could follow around and kind of be connected to. And I love, too, that the author of the book was the one who directed it, too. That's very rare. That never happens. So I thought that was a really cool touch, too. Emma Watson's great. She's great in this movie. And as crazy as Ezra Miller is now, he's actually really, really good in this movie. He is perfect for that kind of a character. Kind of a wacky, funny class clown. He's perfect as that. I don't know. For some reason, when he does the Flash, I don't like it as much. He needs to be the kind of the weird kid, not necessarily a character like the Flash. I actually think the guy who played Charlie, he was Percy Jackson in those terrible Percy Jackson movies. I could actually see him playing the Flash. He has a Barry Allen, not in this movie, but just the actor in general. I could see him being Barry Allen. He kind of has that look to me. But I digress. Excellent movie. Really great coming-of-age story. I've watched a lot of really good coming-of-age stories lately. It was a really, really good movie. I love it. Highly recommend checking it out. Alright, the next movie was Unfrosted. I was so disappointed with this movie. I love Jerry Seinfeld so much. I love Seinfeld. That's my favorite TV show of all time. I love his stand-up. My wife and I got to see him live before COVID. This movie was terrible. And I was so disappointed because I love the concept. It's like, a nod to the actual space race, but at this time of cereal companies. I thought it could have been great, but just the execution was terrible. Some of the dialogue was awful. And it's strange because it was made, it seems like, a kid's movie and very high production, I might add. But it had adult themes in it too. And I'm not saying like Shrek with like little innuendos here. No, like there's full on adult stuff. And it's like, wait a minute. Hold on a second. this is a kid's movie or not? And I think that's kind of the downfall of the movie, is it doesn't quite know what to do. I hope Jerry Seinfeld makes another movie. This is his first time directing a feature-length film. I hope he can redeem himself, which is so sad because the week before he was talking about the death of comedy, and it's because of leftism and wokeism, and I agree with him. But then the next week, he releases this movie, and it was terrible. It was trash. It was garbage. So I was very sad by that. I think it could have been a great snarky film, but nope. I think he needed someone professional who's had experience making movies. So, I don't know. It really fell off the deep end for me. But it also kind of showed what I love about Seinfeld. I think is probably the Larry David aspect too. Them working together to make a story. If he had done something like that, worked with like Larry David or even just a prolific director, I think they could have come up with something really, really good. I think Jerry is best as a writer. I don't think he's a good director, honestly. So, I was very disappointed. Alright, the next few shorts here are Tom and Jerry cartoons, so I'm trying to watch a lot of the Tom and Jerry cartoons. I have all these lists on Letterboxd of like different characters, and I really liked all of them. My favorite of them was the bowling alley cat. That one's one I've seen a few times. I remember it as a kid on Cartoon Network. It was great, but all around, I really like Tom and Jerry just as much, if not on the same level. Or I guess that's the same thing, but I don't know. I love Looney Tunes as well. I think both are excellent, and I love that they're both on Max. So I get to watch them all the time. All right. The last film I watched for May was The Wages of Fear. This is a first time watch for me. I've heard of it, but I've never seen it before. And my buddies, David and Rich, Faces for Radio, check them out. Great stuff. They were talking about a remake film called Wages of Fear, I think on Netflix or Amazon, one of those. And it made me think, hey, is that a remake of this movie? It's one I've been wanting to watch for a while. And I was like, well, maybe I should make that one of the movies. You know how I talked about how I didn't like Ashes and Diamonds? This is worse. This was worse than Ashes and Diamonds. Excuse me. Not only were there no characters where you're wanting to succeed or follow along with or be good guys, they're outright evil. The main guy, he beats his girlfriend. He's a horrible scumbag. He's totally lazy. He's terrible to his friends. It's a terrible movie. I don't understand. I don't understand why. Why is this movie so revered? I don't know. I hated it. I absolutely hated it. Gave it a 2 out of 5. The one plus is the cinematography is incredible. That's something I really like. I'm more of a technical guy. I really like that kind of stuff. But man, it's just so weird too. There's this one of the main guys. He's like an older guy. He goes from being kind of like a gangster to then like a whiny baby by the end of it. And it's really strange. And it's just kind of out of nowhere too. I just didn't like that. I didn't like how terrible the main guy was. Just all around, terrible movie. I do not recommend it. And it's, again, a film that's revered. So, I don't know. Let's move on. Next will be the Criterion film that's coming out later this month that I recommend checking out. Well, I recommend in the sense of it's one I'm interested in and want to check out. And that is Victims of Sin. So, I've never seen the movie, but it's available June 18th this month on Blu-ray and DVD. And it's about a treasure of Mexico's cinematic golden age. This delirious plotted blend of gritty crime film, heart-tugging melodrama, and mambo musical is a dazzling showcase. So when I read all of that, I was like, that sounds great. Checking my messages here. But this to me sounds like a film I want to watch. It came out in 1951 from Criterion. I hope it's one of those where they have a little booklet and a lot of behind the scenes stuff, because that's what Criterion does best, and I love that. I hope it has some of that. And let's turn that ticker back on here. Yeah, no, I'm excited to check this out. I might stream it. I don't think I'll blind buy it. I do want to check it out before I buy it. But I love the cover here. It's excellent looking, really cool. So hopefully it's really good, because I love this cover. Next, I'll be talking about one from Kino Lorber, and that is Come Back Little Sheba. I don't know anything about this film. Apparently it's based off of a play about a couple who rescue hope from the ruins of the past. It's got Shirley Booth. Oh, I thought I was going to say Shirley MacLaine. I don't know who Shirley Booth is. But Burt Lancaster. I love Burt Lancaster and Sweet Smell of Success. That's one of my favorite movies ever. And that's one of the reasons why it kind of stuck out to me of one I'd want to check out. And this is actually available now. It came out on May 13th. So it's one I might rent or stream somewhere if it's streaming. But I'm very interested in this one because I love Burt Lancaster. And it seems like it's a film noir or something like that. Yeah. Doesn't really say here, but I don't know. Just that cover kind of captured my interest in, again, Burt Lancaster. I'm excited to check it out. All right, the last one is from Flicker Alley. So Flicker Alley is a great one. They work a lot with UCLA and the Film Noir Foundation. And actually, a couple years ago, I saw a film called, I have it right here, The Bitter Stems. And it was an Argentine film noir. This is another one of those. It's called Never Open That Door, or No Abras Nunca Esa Puerta. And this is kind of part of their really cool series that they're doing of restoring lesser-known, obscure film noir. I really loved Los Tallos Amargos, The Bitter Stems. So I'm excited to check this one out. I might have to blind buy it just because it's a lot of these movies have never had a release. This is the only time it's ever been released. So I definitely want to check it out. And it's actually available now. Yeah, today's the 7th. Just came out on the 4th. So check that out. And I should mention, I have links to all of the different releases down below. So make sure to click on that if you're on YouTube. Twitter, I'll add that later on in the comments. But yeah, it's another Argentine film. It looks really good. I want to check it out. I think Alan Rode? Let's see. Yeah, he produced it. And it looks like he had some... yeah, they got some interviews with him and Eddie Muller. So I want to check that out. And it looks like some of the people too. Oh, historians. Oh, I thought it was going to be actors. Dang. But... I digress. I want to check this one out. And I highly recommend checking out The Bitter Stems as well. That's an excellent, excellent film noir. All right. So, I'll also be now talking about the different events and festivals I've been to in the past few months. And to start off with WonderCon. So, WonderCon 24 was really great. Each year, my dad has a booth at both WonderCon, San Diego Comic-Con, and also Ontario Comic Revolution. And this is just another one of those. There are 3 books there, so I picked up Dark Knight Strikes Back. Or Strikes Again. I've been watching Star Wars too much. I hear it's not a good book, and the art is terrible. And I've looked through it, and I kind of agree with that assessment. But nevertheless, I still want to read it, because I really love The Dark Knight Returns. I want to see where the story goes next. All right, the next is Avengers Volume 1. This is from Marvel's Masterworks collection. It's in color, and it's the first, I think, 12 or 13 issues of the Avengers. I'm really excited for this. I actually collect a lot of trades and a lot of books, especially the Essentials. I have the first 5 of Fantastic Four, a couple of the Avengers, so this is just another one for that collection. I just love reading these old stories. I thought they were really cool, and I just love the dialogue and just the cheesiness of it. It's really, really excellent. The same goes with the Captain America one. Now, I actually have the Essentials book of that, so I didn't know that it had all these issues in it. So I might be selling that or giving that to somebody else, the Captain America one. But I love collecting those. I also love picking up individual comic books. It's just really fun shopping at these conventions. And then lastly, you can kind of see it there. So my dad and me meeting Chris Gore from Film Threat. I love Chris Gore. I love Film Threat and Nerdrotic and all those guys. This was actually a couple weeks before the Friday Night Tights event, and I'll talk about that in a second here, right before he had his stroke. So luckily he's back now and still making videos and all that, but it's crazy to think that just not long after that happened. So way to go, Chris Gore. Glad to see that you're back, man. But it was really fun meeting him. My dad, he gave him a couple of his art pieces. It's really cool, and for a really good documentary, I recommend checking out Attack of the Doc. That's Chris Gore's documentary about Attack of the Show and just G4 in general. Excellent documentary. I grew up watching G4 with my dad and all that, and going to conventions and seeing them there and all that. So it was very nostalgic for me, but also made me think, man, I wish nerd fandoms would kind of go back to this era where, yeah, people would argue, but it was like, who's going to win, the Thing or the Hulk, right? It was kind of that kind of stuff, not the nonsense we have today. So it's kind of a time capsule, but also a look at the future of how we could be better as a society and just in fandoms in general. So I highly recommend checking it out. All right, so speaking of that, the Friday Night Tights event. Oh, that was so cool. For those who don't know, there's a couple YouTubers out there, Nerdrotic, Geeks and Gamers, Ryan Cannell, all these different people. And I met a lot of them at this event, and it was really, really cool. They're all really nice guys, really cool. And I'm actually wearing the Geeks and Gamers hat, the 199, Hail to 199. That was really cool meeting them. I think Gary, he's always really cool. I actually saw him at Comic-Con last year. Excellent. Nice guy. Really fun time. Ryan, he was fun to talk to for a little bit. And Jeremy as well. Just all around, they're great guys. And it was a great meeting. A great meetup. What I love about them is, even though they're pretty big YouTubers now, at least in my sphere, like where I review movies and look at movies, whatever, but they were so down to earth, so nice. Like, this is at a small event, the Millennium Fandom Bar in Las Vegas. I personally don't drink, so I bought a Coke, but but it was really cool just hanging around these different fans. But they were cool too, like the actual YouTubers. They were sitting around talking with us. Like, it wasn't like they were behind a table and just like, okay, sign here, signing the autograph or whatever. No, like, they were interacting and walking around and just hanging out with us. Really cool, really special event, and I'm definitely going again next April. I think it's a great place and great meetup. I actually have a poster back here, so I got a couple of them to sign my the poster here that you're seeing behind me here. So yeah, really excellent guys, and I highly recommend checking them out. To me, they're a lot more honest as reviewers. They don't get all the perks from the studios or anything like that, so they're kind of honest. And I think it's okay to have honest conversations about movies. I think a lot of the stuff today is terrible, especially the new Marvel and Star Wars and all of that. So I'm grateful for people like these guys who are willing to talk about it, but are also really chill and down to earth as well. Really cool guys. And I had a blast. I'm definitely going back next year. All right. The next event I went to earlier in May, or I guess in May, we're in June now, was the Arthur Lyons Film Noir Festival. This is my third time going, and I just had a blast watching these three movies. I kind of already talked about them earlier. Oh, Elizabeth Scott. Ugh. Dang it. Sorry about that. I totally butchered her name earlier. But I digress. Excellent time. I always love going and watching these movies, and I love the Palm Springs cultural center, cultural theater. I digress. It's a great event. I recommend checking it out because here's the thing. I love watching these movies and I love interacting with these people, but there aren't that many youngsters there. I was probably the youngest guy there, and the next one up to me was probably a good 25, 30 years older than me. And I want this event to keep going. I want it to keep succeeding because I think it's important to watch these old movies. And especially film noir. I mean, film noir is my favorite genre. I would say overall in film. Maybe even westerns, I don't know. But this is just a great event because you get to see these movies that are so obscure and no one talks about anymore. And most of them haven't had a release. At the very least, a DVD release. You know, it's a great spot. And I would add Cinecon to that too. I'll be going to that later this year. But yeah, just... please come next year, everybody. It's a great event. It's a few days, so you don't have to go for the whole event. Just come 1 or 2 days. Please check it out. It's a really cool event. And I love Alan Rhodey. He's the one who kind of heads this event. He works for the Film Noir Foundation, too. Really cool guy. I love his Michael Curtiz book. Just all around, great event, great people, and great noir. It's always fun discovering these little movies that you've never heard of. All right, ladies and gentlemen, now we're going to go into the next segment that you've all been waiting for, and that's going to be my review of To Kill a Mockingbird. So, that's kind of the main title of this. Again, I won't be doing as long of intro the next live stream I do like this, just because now I'm caught up with all the different events I was supposed to do in other live streams, so I should be caught up now. But what I'll be doing is once a month, each week I release a podcast episode. Once a month there will be a live stream of one of the episodes. And so this is it right here, To Kill a Mockingbird. So To Kill a Mockingbird came out in 1962 and it stars Gregory Peck. And let's go ahead and turn on the chat here. So Gregory Peck, speaking of kind of a behind the scenes detail about this movie, he gives a really good speech near the climax of the film, and it runs for about 6 minutes and 30 seconds. He nailed it in a single take. And I just think that's so cool. I think Gregory Peck is such a great actor, and very underrated one, I might add. I think he's really, really cool. And I'll talk about that later on when it comes to acting, but I wouldn't put it past him. He's an excellent actor. All right, the next details. So Mary Badham, she plays Scout in this movie, and Gregory Peck. They became very close during the film and kept in touch for the rest of his life. And they would call each other by the characters' names for the rest of his life, too. So I think that's a really cute little touch there, because you could tell they had real on-screen chemistry, like really connected with each other in a very father-daughter way. I thought they did really good there. All right, so now I'll get into my thoughts on the plot of To Kill a Mockingbird. I gave it a 4.5 out of 5. I think it's an excellent plot. You know, to me, the highlight of the movie is actually shown right here, the court scene. You know, I think we could have spent a little bit less time with the kids, and I know it's told from Scout's perspective. So if that's the case, I wish we had more of the narration then, because it's very hit and miss. It's very choppy. It's not really there. But I love the courtroom scene. It's a very powerful and very great moment of the film. And again, that monologue by Gregory Peck really elevates that as well. And I think it's a great story overall. I see why we read it in high school. It's great film all around. Yeah, no, I love it. I love it so much. I actually do own it on VHS, so I'm definitely picking up that 4K from, I believe Universal did it, so yeah, I'm checking that out. But those are my overall thoughts on the plot, 4.5 out of 5. Alright, next is the acting. I gave it a 5 out of 5. So, Gregory Peck, he steals the show. He's the best actor in the whole film. Every scene he's in, he's incredible. But I also like the kid actor for Jem. He's shown on the left there. You could tell, like, a scene I'm thinking of in particular. There's a rabid dog coming down the street, and Atticus shoots the dog, right? And you could see the admiration that Jem has for his dad. And I love that. I think that actor, that he was like 10 years old, 12 years old. He really captivated that and really showed, wow, he really loves his dad. And yeah, I just think overall it's great cast, great acting. I also like Tom Robinson's actor, played by Brock Peters. If you've ever seen the Star Trek movies, he's in those as well. But he was excellent as Tom Robinson, and just kind of showing us the tragedy of the character, especially when he's giving his testimony. Excellent scene. The real actor I really didn't like was Scout, but then again, she was a kid actress. You're kind of not supposed to, but apparently she got nominated for an Oscar. So, okay, there's that. I think Jem should have got it. He was a way better kid actor, in my opinion. Scout was just alright. But overall, great acting. So now, let's move on to directing. So Robert Mulligan, he's the director right there. I think this is the only film I've seen by him. I thought he did great, but I do wish there's more consistency with the narrator. That is definitely more of an editing job that he could have helped out with, because he's the one who makes the final say, right? Other than the studio. But yeah, I wish there was more of a consistent narrator. That took me a little bit out of the film. I just wanted more scenes with Atticus. Gregory Peck was so good. He was just incredible. But again, the directing was great. 4.5 out of 5. You could tell he really cared about the story, and he was very innovative with camera work, and I'll talk about that in cinematography. But yeah, no, it was excellent. Highly, highly, highly recommend checking it out. Just for this alone, he was a great director. All right. Speaking of that, cinematography and special effects. Holy cow. Amazing. 5 out of 5. The intro title sequence. Now, if you've ever seen Napoleon Dynamite and Nacho Libre, it's kind of similar to this, where the character's like writing out the title of the movie, right? Now, they don't carry that out for the rest of the intro title, but I still think it was really innovative that they're creating the title sequence with real-world objects instead of text over the film. I thought that was a really cool effect. And I think it was Scout who's drawing it with a crayon, and she's like humming along and all of that. I thought that was really cool. But just, such good camera work, especially the close-ups of the people's faces when they're giving their testimonies in the courtroom. Excellent. And you could kind of tell how unhinged some of the characters are. Really good. Really good acting. Really good cinematography and special effects and all of that. There weren't any special effects, I should add. It was just really good camera work. Very innovative. It felt more modern than it did a 60s film. So I thought that was really cool. Very innovative. Alright, next is the music. So the music, I gave it 5 out of 5. You know, it was excellent. It was used sparingly, for sure. But when it was used, it was excellent. It was used when it was needed, especially in the end credits. Just all around, excellent music. I definitely want to pick up a CD or something for it. I just loved it. Really good. It's very memorable too. I think it's one of the better scores of this era. Because, you know, back in the old time, you were more focused on the acting than you were anything else. The actors, I should say. So this is a really kind of a change where all the music is just as memorable as the movie is. So I love that. And I recommend listening to it. Alright, so tallying that all up, that brings my Letterboxd score to 4.8 out of 5, which I'm rounding to a 5 out of 5. Bonjour, not a fed. Then I give it a 96% on Letterboxd, or a critic list rather. 4.8 on Letterboxd. Yes, I highly recommend this movie wholeheartedly. It's got great dialogue, great drama. The subject matter itself of an innocent man being tried for a crime he didn't commit is amazing. It's also a great way of showing that while there were horrible things going on, especially in the Jim Crow South, there were still good people. Atticus Finch, he's a great character. A great man to look up to, I think. Just overall, excellent film. I highly recommend checking it out. And it's just great at showing that how far we've come since the 1930s. I mean, this is 90 years ago the film takes place. So I think just as a society, we've come so far since this. I think that's really cool. What is up, Anna L64? How are you doing? All right. Well, that's kind of the end of the To Kill a Mockingbird, excellent movie, 5 out of 5. So now I'll get into the highlight of the show, which is the first round of Halo 1. So let me put this back on. Alright, so now I'll get that set up here. Close this tab, yes. Okay. And then we'll make that bigger. Now let's open up Halo. I am doing great. Thanks for asking. I'm really excited to play this Halo here. I haven't finished this game yet. I've gotten pretty far in it though. Let's move the screen here. There we go. Turn off that guy. All right. So let's get started. So let's get into campaigns. Halo Combat Evolved. Alright, so I'll be doing the first level here, the Pillar of Autumn. Let's see, not a Fed. It's hard not to look back at simpler times. Crazy thing is, in the future, we unfortunately will consider these simpler times, which is absolutely nightmarish. No, that's very true. I absolutely agree with that. Turn down just a little bit. Alright, cool. So, let's get started with that first level here. I'll turn on my microphone. Do heroic. That's fun. I have not seen The Dirty Dozen. I've really wanted to see it though, because I love a lot of the cast in that.
All I need to know is, did we lose them?
I think we both know the answer to that.
We made a blind jump. How did they...
Get here first?
Not a Fed says the OG Halo 1 was my first online game. Nothing compares to the feel of seeing other people in an online game for the first time. Couldn't believe they were real at first, not just computers, lol. Yeah. My first one was Halo 3. I played Halo 1 a little bit later. Like I said, I haven't finished it ever yet. So I'm really excited to go through every single level with this.
So, where do we stand?
Our fighters are mopping up the last of their recon picket now. Nothing serious. But I've isolated approach signatures.
I think I have the new graphics on. We'll see. I want to try and play it as much as like the old one as possible.
Well, that's it then. Bring the ship back up to Combat Alert Alpha. I want everyone at their stations.
Everyone, sir?
Everyone. And Cortana. Let's give our old friend
Oh.
I've already begun.
Oh. I love that close-up.
Attention, all combat personnel. Please report to your action station.
See something real quick.
This platoon, secure airlocks on Deck 11. 14th platoon rendezvous with 22nd Tactical at Bulkhead Charlie 14.
You heard the lady. Move like you got a purpose.
This is not a drill. I repeat, this is not a
I love the Marines in these games so much. They're so funny.
Man, here's where we show those split-chin, squid-head sons of bitches that they could not have picked a worse enemy than the human race. We are going to blow the hell out of those dumb bugs until we don't have anything left to shoot them with. And then we are going to strangle them with their own living guts. Am I right, Marine? Sir, yes, sir. Damn right I am.
I
Now
love
move it
this
out.
so
Double
much.
time.
Attention all personnel. We are re-engaging the enemy. External and internal contact imminent.
All you greenhorns who wanted to see Covenant up close, this is gonna be your lucky day.
Sir? Right. Let's thaw him out. Okay. Bringing low-level systems online. Cracking the case in 30 seconds.
Ooh, it's the Master Chief.
He's hot! Blowing the pins in 5. Come on, we've got to get the hell out of here.
Alpha to Sierra. Sensors show
This way.
Covenant boarding craft. Stand by to repel boarders.
You gonna die, boy. Yep. Alright. Go this way. Ooh, I need a gun. So you got a gun? Nope. Oh, this way. Oh, that's right. Yep.
What was that? You can't hide from me, sir. The captain needs you on the bridge ASAP.
10-4. You don't have to tell me twice.
Stay back!
Is your channel just half reviews of old movies and half just gaming? Or yes, it is. So I mostly focus on classic Hollywood, and this is actually my first time gaming as part of a live stream as well.
Captain Keyes.
Good to see you, Master Chief. Things aren't going well. Cortana did her best, but we never really had a chance.
A dozen Covenant superior battleships against a single Halcyon-class cruiser. With those odds, I'm content with 3, make that 4 kills. Sleep well?
No thanks to your driving, yes.
So you did miss me.
Report.
It must have been one of their boarding parties. I'd guess an antimatter charge.
Ma'am, fire control for the main cannon is offline.
Captain, the cannon was my last offensive option.
She's so creepy
I'm
looking.
initiating full protocol. We're abandoning the Autumn. That means you too, Cortana.
While you do what? Go down with the ship?
In a manner of speaking. The object we found, I'm going to try and land the Autumn on it.
I love the pipe.
All due respect, sir. This war has enough dead heroes.
I appreciate your concern, Cortana, but it's not up to me. The protocol is clear. Destruction or capture of a shipboard AI is absolutely unacceptable, and that means you're leaving ship. Lock in a selection of emergency landing zones, upload them to my neural lace, and then sort yourself for a heart transfer.
Aye, aye, sir.
Which is where you come in, Chief. Get Cortana off this ship. Keep her safe from the enemy. If they capture her, they'll learn everything. Force deployment, weapons research, Earth.
I understand.
The The Autumn will continue evasive maneuvers until you initiate a landing sequence. Not that you'll listen, but I'd suggest letting my subroutines handle the final approach.
Excellent work, Cortana. Thank you. Are you ready?
Yank me.
Good luck, Master Chief.
Your architecture isn't much different from the Autumn's.
Don't get any funny.
Very cool. Is there a cut-off as far as current of movie you'll review?
don't
We'll
keep
say
that
asking as
low,
I've taken
so
my
you'll
favorite
have to
movie
find out
before
once
giving yours. Ah, okay. For me, the cutoff is 1965, just because to me, after that, I'll pause real quick. After 1965 is kind of when the new Hollywood movement started, kind of with like Bonnie and Clyde and whatnot. I like talking 65 and earlier, so all the way as far as 1890 actually. But yeah, no, I love that era of Hollywood so much. I think it's really the best era of movies. All right.
Get moving, Master Chief.
Yes, sir.
To do here.
All right. Get some- Oh.
Those Marines could use some help, Chief. Do what you do best.
Sir.
Ease up, son. Cut it out! What the? Let's dance, guys! Come on!
Come on.
Lost contact. Where are you?
There's more guys this way.
Follow me, Marines. Another one. I got your back, buddy. Huh?
I love the handgun so much.
The best you can do. Does anybody see him?
I think it's... Okay, yeah, back this way. Gotta preserve these bullets.
Cavalry has arrived. I saw this. What the hell? Did something just hit us?
Move in. Back to the airlock.
Found him.
Take that.
Keep your head down. There's two of us in here now, remember?
Yeah, yeah.
Is it the best you can do? You lousy bastards!
Crap, 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 crap.
Take that! Cut it out! Let's find him.
We have 4 bullets left.
Over here! Mark 5! Roger that.
There we go. That's what I needed. Okay.
Fire
There we go, more ammo. Oof, I need a health bar. Is there another one back here? So. Nope. Okay. Well, that was dumb. Go this way.
What the? Found it. Oh, that's it. I'm hit.
Oh no! Dang it.
Over here. Hit multiple targets. Gah! Ah!
Crap, 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 crap. Nope, no health bar in there.
They're using our lifeboat airlocks to attach their boarding craft. We go out and they come in.
Crap, crap, crap. Crap, 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 crap. Oh no! Ah, dang it.
What the hell am I doing here?
Run, run, run! Ah, are you kidding me? Ah, that was cool. Okay. That's what I get for playing heroic. You kidding me? I love the grunts that they make. Okay.
Covenant, on the landing above us.
That burns. Over here. That's the best you can do. I'm on it. Good one. What the? That burns. Whoa.
Nope, no health back.
Want some more of this? Nice one.
Alright. Let's go this way.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's right. We're gonna die! Yeesh. Hopefully there's a health bar over there. those elites get me, man. Yay! Health bar.
The life pods are launching. We should hurry.
Preferred genre of movies. Ooh. I really like noir and westerns. Pretty much everything, but my favorite movie is Casablanca. So, whichever.
Blast doors closing.
Oh shoot. So whatever genre that one's technically in. I think it's technically noir. Okay, that's the way. Okay, so I'll go this way. I was just doing this the other night. I think it's this way, yeah. Okay. Yeah, I remember. Crap. Ah, dang it. That was stupid. Stupid idea. Oh, wow. That's gonna be pretty far. Oh no, I'm going this way. It's gonna be really far back. Dang. Yeah, here's a health pack. Okay, not super far back.
The life pods are launching. We should hurry. The Covenant are destroying the life pods. Warning, blast doors closing. We have to use the ship's maintenance access ways. Follow the nav point. It will lead you to an opening.
Oh, I did it again. It's over here. Alright. That was a close one.
It looks like
Oh yeah, I remember. There's up this way. Oh wait, I think I go this way, yeah. Not much, Cortana. Not much. Hi ho, Silver!
There's one last lifeboat. Quickly, get aboard before it launches.
Wow, it's taller than I thought. And better looking, too.
Do I go this way? Oh, here we go. Oh, that's the way it came in, I thought. I don't remember where to go. Okay. So you mentioned old versus new Holly around 65. Was there anything that sort of defined the flip? I would say the rating system. So,
Oh no! Oh no!
so when movies became R-rated and movies started having like different topics, like like abortion, like I was mentioning earlier, but just like more taboo things that you wouldn't see before. They weren't as sanitized. Movies like Midnight Cowboy too, kind of depressing. That's kind of when the change really happened, I would say. Many say that Midnight Cowboy was kind of the solidification of New Hollywood, because that won Best Picture over, I think it was like Around the World 80 Days or something like that.
What is that thing, Lieutenant?
So,
Hell if I know. We're landing on it.
Here, hold up. She's been hit.
Knew it.
I would say television too, because television was kind of more open and free than movies were. That kind of helped changed, it helped shifted things.
Heads up, everyone. This is it. We're entering the ring's atmosphere in 5.
Sure you wouldn't rather take a seat?
We'll be fine.
If I still had fingers, they'd be crossed.
All right. Okay, so like I said, I would just be doing the one level today. And let's go ahead and turn this camera back on, but I'll stay on for a little bit and answer any questions you guys may have. Just about old Hollywood and just old movies in general, or even To Kill a Mockingbird, or anything like that. Alright, let's bring up the chat too. There we go. But thank you all so much for coming on today. I actually had a blast doing that. You know, talking about movies I watched over the month, and then the different events I went to, like Comic-Con and all that, and then of course the review of To Kill a Mockingbird. Again, that was a great movie. And then just playing the level of Halo 2. That was kind of a nice little send-off for me too. Great game. The next one of these, so I'm trying to do this once a month. It's got to be one of the episodes for the show. And the next movie I'll be doing will be, let me pull it up here. Yes, so 30 Seconds Over Tokyo. They'll be on July 12th. July 12th will be that live stream. But each and every week, so for anyone who's new, I do a weekly podcast, weekly episodes about a specific film. And let's see, I'm coming up to the end of season 3 here. I'll be starting season 4 mid-July here of really old movies. But I talk about movies from 1890 to 1965. And the next movie, so this week was To Kill a Mockingbird. Next week is a film called The Golem, and it's from, I believe, 1920. It's an old silent film that's kind of been lost in history. So I think it's a sequel to the original one from 1915. But I'm excited to check that one out. I've never seen it before, and I just love old Hollywood in general and just old silent films too. Alright, got a question here. Was just thinking about how Halo shifts genres in the middle of the game from action shooter to horror. Love that stuff. I think that's why Dying Light #1 is my favorite game. Action by day, horror by night. Yeah, no, definitely. Even just the games in general, like I think it was Halo 2 or 3 when they really started going into the horror stuff with the flood and all that. I mean, the flood's in this game, but no, yeah. I think Halo is a great example of that. And I haven't heard of Dying Light. Is that a first-person shooter? What kind of game is that one? I haven't heard of that one. But yeah, like I was saying, I love doing this. I'm definitely going to keep doing it. And I've been using OBS. That's been really, really cool. A little stressful, not going to lie. I did a couple test runs the past few days here. Yeah. Oh, first-person zombie. Ooh, zombies. Okay. Yeah, I haven't heard of that one. Do you know if it's on Steam or not? I don't have any consoles or anything like that. That might be one I'd be wanting to check out. Dying Light. But what I'm excited for is just to continue playing through these games, games of my childhood, but then also talking about movies from the old Hollywood era. I think it's just a great blend because I think so many people today don't know or talk about old movies. And then on top of that, though, I think a lot of people like video games too. So I think kind of blending the two just once a month, I think is really, really fun. And just using this fun little OBS stuff I got going on here. Yeah, I'll probably be on for another 5 minutes or so. I do gotta get going and doing stuff for the weekend. But again, thanks everyone for hopping on tonight. I really, really appreciate that. And yeah, this is on YouTube and also on Twitter, so follow me there on Twitter. But yeah, it's on everything pretty much. It's the golden standard for a zombie game, in my opinion. Okay, cool. I'll have to check that out. Find it on Steam here. Add it to my wish list. So let's pull up. What's it called again? Dying Light. Oh, okay. Now I haven't heard of it before. Come on, Steam. I love how they have all these protections, if you will, to prevent kids from, seeing potentially graphic content, but you could lie about your age. It's kind of a silly thing. Ooh. Overwhelmingly positive. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to add that to the wish list. Oops. Let's go back. Share. No. Alright. Why, yes, I was born in 1902. I know, it's just silly, because... Anyway. There's no real way of actually proving that you're that age or not, but whatever. It's fine. Yeah, but I added that to the wish list here. And maybe I'll ask the audience, too, what are some old movies you really like that are like To Kill a Mockingbird, or just favorite old movies in general? And it's okay if it's beyond 65. That's just my parameters for reviewing. But yeah, what are just old movies you guys really like? See how we're sounding on Twitter. I haven't checked it on Twitter yet. I refuse to call it X. I think that's a ridiculous name. As much as I love Elon Musk, I don't think that was his best idea. But I guess we're talking about it, right? Maybe it did work. Maybe that was his intention. Better like To Kill a Mockingbird or... Oh, beautiful. The sound is great. Okay, just a couple more minutes here. Okay. Ooh, I forgot to mention, so To Kill a Mockingbird, that was streaming for free on Tubi. So if anybody here's got Tubi, that I recommend checking it out there. They got a lot of great movies on there. I mean, if you're willing to every 10 minutes or so watch a 30-second clip, I mean, it's not a bad deal considering how it's free. So yeah, I recommend that. Okay, Not a Fed says It's a Wonderful Life is likely my favorite old movie. Kind of generic story, but it hits. I don't know. Christmas movie where a guy realizes all he took for granted via an alternative timeline. Yeah, I love It's a Wonderful Life as well. That's one of my favorites. In fact, I got it. Let's see back. I got it on Blu-ray here, and this edition's kind of cool because it's got both the black and white and the absolutely insane color version. And what I mean by that is, back in I think it was the 80s or 90s, Ted Turner, so from Turner Classic gets its name from him. He owned Warner Brothers for a while there. I think he was from Viacom, or no, CBS. I can't remember which it was. But anyways, he decided, hey, people don't like black and white movies. Let's colorize all these old black and white movies when we put them on TV. Absolutely terrible, atrocious idea. Totally takes away from the magic of black and white, in my opinion. And a lot of people, I think Charlton Heston and Jimmy Stewart, protested against it in Congress, calling out Ted Turner, saying, hey, this is affecting our old movies. You can't do that. It's ridiculous. But, yeah, so anyways, It's a Wonderful Life. I got it on Blu-ray here with black and white and in color. All right, Not a Fed says, nice, LOL. I think I pirated it for my girlfriend's mom and the rest of us to watch it last Christmas, first time I'd seen it. Oh, really? Okay. Well, that. I wish I could go back to the first time I saw it. It's a really, really good movie. And I don't have any children yet myself, but just in general, just the feelings you get, especially as a husband and future father, just it hits you right in the feels, man. Just the story of George Bailey. Excellent. I think it connects to everyone. I think that's why it's more beloved than a lot of older movies. All right, got CJ saying, I like the TV filter. Oh, thanks. Yes, so my camera here does standard definition, and I thought, hey, why don't I just put a TV on top so that it crops out the fact it's not going to fill the screen? So, thank you. Agreed, Not a Fed. It does make you want to be a family man. I mean, yeah, he gets grumpy when he loses all that money and all of that, but yeah, no, it's a great movie. I keep saying that, but it really is. I mean, if you haven't seen It's a Wonderful Life, I highly recommend checking it out. It's probably my second or third favorite movie of all time. Just great, endearing story. I think everyone can relate to. Yeah. Then I'll show off one more thing, then I'll probably close after that. I just love talking about old movies so much. So I was mentioning Casablanca earlier. And so this is my thing for it right here from Zavi. Excellent condition here. So it came with a steelbook and the movie in 4K and in Blu-ray. Now, I store the discs in a different place so that I could just watch them on my TV. I'm in my office here. Just look at the interior of that. Isn't that cool? I love it. And I won't open more of it, but it's got a little package here. So if you open this guy up, it's got little posters and little cards inside of it. And a full-fledged poster. And I want to get a frame for it. Good old Casablanca. But I love collecting old movies, and I think now is the best time to do that, because there's Kino Lorber, Criterion, Flicker Alley. You know, those three I mentioned earlier are great. Because the major studios, like, this isn't the Warner Brothers release. This is from a European company. And I bought it off of a European website, you know. They're not doing the cool stuff like that anymore. So check out boutique labels. And if you're on YouTube, you know, I have links to the movies I mentioned down below. But yeah, I think this is actually the best era of collecting old movies. Or eBay. Yeah. eBay's a great spot too. I've gotten a few comics and movies off of there. Or another one, the name is escaping me, but another one my friends, Nate from Geeks and Flicks mentioned too. Shoot, I can't remember it, but yeah, they got a lot of really cool stuff. But eBay's kind of hit and miss for me, because sometimes you'll find it cheaper just buying it used on Amazon or from a bookstore or whatever it is, right? And they always have great deals too on Criterion and whatnot. All right. Yes, I highly recommend Not a Fed. You definitely need to give it a watch. Well, that's all the time I have for today, everybody. I gotta take the dog for a walk and whatnot, but thank you all so much for watching and listening to today's episode. Make sure to follow me on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Letterboxd, everywhere, pretty much at Really Old Movies. And each week I discuss films on the podcast, and I also release kind of like behind the scenes photos on Instagram and Facebook. And the podcasts are released Saturdays at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, and video versions on YouTube and Rumble Mondays at 7 p.m. And then I try to live stream once a month. And so this is the first in the series. I'm going to try and have one of my reviews every month be a live stream like this one. Okay, we got Bowser's Inside Story. I got on late. Did I miss the Halo part? Unfortunately, yes, but not to worry. You can rewind here. I think it's about 20 or 30 minutes worth. You can check that one out here. And this will be on here forever. So if you missed it out, no worries. You can check out the replay. And make sure to comment your favorite old movies or favorite video games, whatever it may be, down below, and I'll interact with you guys. But yeah. No, thanks, Bowser. Alright, well, with that, thank you all so much. This has been Really Old Movies. I'm your host, Harrison Scullin. Take care.